do some work, so come in. So we're in our original studio, but really happy to see everybody. Hope you had a great day yesterday. And we almost made 11:30. We're 11:35 today. We're getting closer. We'll try tomorrow to be right at 11:30. So hopefully you're here, you're logging on. And the good thing about our story times, this is day 49, believe it or not, is that we have to do something tomorrow special for day 50 because that's a big accomplishment. So we'll think about that. If you have any ideas, let me know or write me a message. So we will be back tomorrow at 11:30, and we'll do the best we can to be on time. We have two really cool books today that we're going to read, and I'll tell you about those, and then we'll say hi to everybody. The first is Suki's Kimono, which is very cool. It's about a Japanese type of clothing that we're going to learn about. So Suki, I think, is the one wearing it. So let's see. And that is written by written by Shiriri Yugaki and illustrated by Stefan Jorsich. So we'll read that one first. And then we have, and thank you to Kids Can Press for permission. And then we have Hana Hashimoto. So we have a Japanese themed day today. And that's written by Chieri Yugachi as well. And Quinn Lang. So we have two books by the same author today. And this is Kids Can Press as well. So thank you for that permission. And this is called Hana Hashimoto 6 Violin. So we're going to learn about kimonos and violins and a little bit, hopefully, about Japanese culture. So that's going to be cool. So for everyone who tuned in yesterday, I want to say hi to you. And thank you for joining us. If you have any additional shout outs, let me know. I'm not seeing my list here today, but that's okay because you know I love you. and we will, I promise we will make up. If we don't say hi to everybody, we'll make up for folks that I missed today, tomorrow. I'm gonna check one more thing. Yeah, I don't see them. So we will do it tomorrow. We'll do a big shout out list tomorrow. Okay, so don't worry. I got you. All right. Let's sing our welcome song and let's get going. We clap and sing hello. We clap and sing hello. With our friends at story time. We clap and sing hello. We wave and sing hello. We wave and sing hello. With our friends at story time. We wave and sing hello. Hi, everybody. Oh, we stop and sing hello. We stop and sing hello. With our friends at story time, we stop and sing hello. Hello. Now, I don't have Mortimer the monkey with me today. He stayed home. He didn't want to come. But we will see him tomorrow. He's just hanging out with my daughters. They've come to love him a little bit. So, and that's all, my beautiful family behind me. So he's hanging out at home, but we'll see Mortimer the monkey tomorrow. All right, let's get into our books. Suki's Kimono. Cool picture. Suki's Kimono. All right, here we go. On the first day of school, Suki wanted to wear her kimono. Her sisters did not approve. You can't wear that, said Mari. People will think you're weird. You can't wear that, said Yumi. Everyone will laugh at you and no one will play with you. You need something new, Suki. You need something cool. I guess the sisters thought they were cool with their more traditional clothing. And this is Suki over here wanting to wear her kimono, her traditional clothing. But Suki shook her head. She didn't care for new. She didn't care for cool. She wanted to wear her favorite thing, and her favorite thing to wear was her kimono. Suki's Obachan had given her the kimono. The first time Suki wore it, her Obachan took her to a street festival where they slurped bowls of slippery, cold somen noodles and shared a cone of crunchy shaved ice topped with a sweet red bean sauce. This must be her obachan, which I don't know what it means yet, but we'll find out. It's some sort of either mother or parent or someone who, someone who teaches her how to wear it. See what that word means. Under strings of paper, lanterns, Suki joined her obachan in a circle dance. She followed her and copied her movements, trying to be a light, trying to be as light and as graceful as she was. She watched the other women and children who danced, especially those who were dressed in cotton kimonos like her. It's pretty. Later, Suki sat so close to the stage that when the taco drummers performed, boom, 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 she felt like she swallowed a ball of thunder, and her whole insides quaked and quivered. Before they left the festival, Suki and her obachan stopped at a souvenir stand. There were many things to choose from, but her obachan found the prettiest thing of all, a handkerchief of pale pink linen, decorated with tiny maple leaves and cherry blossoms. When she gave it to Suki, she said, "This will help you remember one day." This will help you remember our day, rather. Now it was time for school. Mother checked Suki's obi one last time and took a picture of Mari, Yumi, and Suki together by the front steps. Then, as she watched the three sisters made their way down the block to their school, Mari and Yumi stayed several paces ahead of Suki and pretended they didn't know her. They were embarrassed. But Suki didn't mind. She turned and waved to her mother before she clopped, she was wearing the cloppers, along in her shiny red gaita, feeling very pleased in her fan patterned blue kimono. She was proud of who she was, who she is. It's very important. Once in a while, Suki would lift her arms and let the butterfly sleeves flutter out in the breeze. It made her feel like she'd grown her own pair of wings. When they reached the school, Mari and Yumi hurried across the yard to a group of their close friends. Suki stopped and looked around. Some of the children turned and stared at her, and others giggled and pointed at her kimono. But Suki ignored them. She took a seat on a swing to wait for the bell. A girl dressed in overalls, just like a pair Suki had at home, sat on the swing beside her. "Hi, Suki," said the girl. "Hi, Penny," said Suki. "How come you're dressed so funny?" Penny asked. "Where did you get those shoes?" Suki lifted her feet off the ground, off the sand, and wiggled her toes. "I'm not dressed funny," she said. "My grandma gave me these shoes." Suki started pumping her legs. After a moment, Penny did the same, and soon they were both swinging as fast and as high as they could. Swoosh, 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 and up. She was proud of her. Maybe grandma is the obachan. That's what I'm thinking. When the bell rang, Suki and Penny jumped off the swings and ran to the gym for the first day assembly. Once they were finally taken to their new classroom, Suki chose a desk near the window. Penny chose a desk next to Suki. As they waited for everyone to find a seat, two boys in front of Suki turned and snickered behind their hands. One of the boys reached over and snatched at Suki's sleeve. Look at this, he said. She's a bat. That's mean. Suki felt her cheeks burn, but she did not respond. Instead, she concentrated on sitting up straight and tall, the way her Obachan always did. It was easy to do with an obi wrapped snug around her middle. Her obi was golden yellow, and in its folds she had tucked away her pale pink handkerchief. Welcome to first grade, said the teacher. My name is Mrs. Paggio. She smiled. Let's introduce ourselves and tell everyone what we did this summer. When it was her turn to speak, Suki stood up and told the teacher her name. Hello, Suki, said Miss Paggio. What did you do this summer? My grandma visited us, she said, straightening her sleeves. She brought me my kimono and my gaita. Suki raised her foot to show the teacher her wooden clog. Somewhere in the classroom, someone laughed, but Suki took a deep breath and continued. That's what you do when someone makes fun. The best thing was that she took me to a festival. Ah, that is the Obachan. That must mean grandma in Japanese. We learned something. And there we were dancing girls dressed like me. And there were dancing girls dressed like me. And they danced like this. She took a few steps and swayed her arms, demonstrating to the class. Look, now she's dancing, somebody said. But Suki didn't hear. She hummed the music and remembered hearing at the festival. She remembered how it felt to dance barefoot in the open air on the fresh cut grass that tickled her toes. She tried to picture the other dancers, how they moved forward in the circle with the rhythm of the music, how they stamped their feet, first right, then left, swung their arms, first up, then down, how they stepped back and clapped. When Suki couldn't remember the next step, she made it up just to keep dancing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, stop. When she finished, the room seemed very quiet. Everyone was watching her. Suki sat down, wondering if she was in trouble. But Miss Paggio said, "That was wonderful, Suki," and started to clap. Then so did Penny. And after a moment, the entire class started clapping. After school, as the three sisters walked home together, Mari and Yumi grumbled about their first day. First day of school. No one even noticed my sweater, said Mari. No one even noticed my cool shoes, said Yumi. But Suki just smiled. As she clip-clopped along behind them, Suki pulled out the pale pink handkerchief from her obi and held it up over her head to catch the wind, and in her blue cotton kimono and her shiny red gaita, Suki danced all the way. Lesson today, guys, is to be proud of who you are and your culture. That's so cool. I wore a blue agbada when I got sworn into office, which is a traditional Nigerian piece of clothing. And I was actually very nervous about wearing it because no one had ever done that before. Everyone always wore traditional suits and ties, like you see. And that's fine too. I wear those a lot. But I really wanted to honor my heritage, my Nigerian heritage of my father who had passed away and gone to heaven. And so I wore that. And I wanted everyone who wanted to dress like their culture to feel that they could do it. So I did it and I was nervous, but once I did it, it was so great and so many people appreciated it and clapped, just like Suki. So be proud of who you are, no matter what your culture is. All right, let's read our other one here. Let's wash our hands first. 2 times, keep them clean. That's why we do this. Use soap. Tops and bottoms, in between, Rub them all together, scrub them all together. Now they're clean, now they're clean. Tops and bottoms, in between, in between. Rub them all together, scrub them all together. Now they're clean, now they're clean. All right, keep your hands clean. All right, what do we got here? Hana Hashimoto, 6th violin by Chiri Ugaki, the same author. All right. When Hana Hashimoto announced that she had signed up for the talent show and that she would be playing the violin, her brothers nearly fell out of a tree. That's just loopy, said Kenji. You're still a beginner. Stop kidding, said Koji. You can barely play a note. It's a talent show, Hana. You'll be a disaster. They were not very supportive brothers. Hana squared her shoulders and took her violin and bow inside, leaving her brothers laughing like monkeys in a tree. Mr. Mortimer the monkey. She pulled at the strings, letting them twang. Twang. It was true that she was still a beginner. She had only been to 3 lessons. The first time Hana held a real violin had been that summer while visiting her grandfather in Japan. Long, long ago, her grandfather had been part of the great symphony orchestra in Kyoto. Oji-chan had been second violin, I think that means grandpa, and once played in front of the imperial family, royal family in Japan. That's what those pictures are. Oji-chan played every morning. From his study, the clear, bright notes would drift upstairs, through the shoji screen doors to where Hana slept on a sweet-smelling tatami mats, and coax her awake as gently as sunshine. Oji-chan usually played classical pieces by Mozart or Bach, but in the indigo evenings, while Hana and her brothers ate ice cream and oranges, Oji-chan would sit on the veranda and play requests. Hana always asked for a song about cow calling from her 7 chicks. Whenever Oji-chan played it, Hana would feel a shiver of happy sadness ripple through her. Oji-chan didn't just play songs. He could also make his violin chirp, 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 like the crickets Hana tried to find in the tall grass. He could pluck the strings to mimic the sound of raindrops on the oil paper umbrella Hana twirled under during summer storms. And when the first fireflies emerged at twilight, Ji-chan could compose a melody that seemed to make them dance higher and glow brighter than ever before. And that must be one sweet sounding melody. At the end of the day, as Hana lay with her head resting on a cool buckwheat pillow, Oji-chan would play a lullaby so soothing that sleep would fall over her head like a blanket. On their last day together, Hana told Oji-chan that she wanted to learn to play the violin. And when Hana got home, her parents agreed that she could. Now, Hana was practicing not just for lessons, but for the talent show too. Hana practiced every day, just like Oji-chan. And every day her brothers fled the house with covered ears, complaining about the horrible noise. She practiced in front of her parents, who listened with care while they washed and dried the dishes. She practiced in front of her dog, Jojo, who cocked his head and sometimes growled at the strange sounds that Hana made. And she practiced on her own in front of an old photo of Oji-chan from his symphony days. Alone, Hana could pretend she was performing in front of an audience so appreciative they called for encore after encore. which means please play some more, please. So she was practicing like she saw the people already. Then the day of the talent show arrived, and the school auditorium thrummed with excitement. Backstage, Hannah waited with a walloping heart. She was nervous. A dozen acts, including 5 other violinists, had already gone before her. Finally, Hannah heard the master of ceremonies call her name. It's her turn. As Hannah walked onto stage, her violin tucked in her arm and her bow gripped tight in her hand. An oceanic roar filled her ears. Things seemed to be moving in slow motion, and for one dizzy moment, Hannah thought Kenji and Koji were right. This is going to be a disaster, she whispered. She wished she could turn into a grain of rice and disappear into a crack beneath the floorboards. She was so nervous. She could hardly see with the spotlight in her eyes. Yes, but yet, as Hannah looked out into the audience, certain faces appeared to her. As if through a telescopic lens, she could see her brothers melting into their seats. She saw her best friend, Joss, giving her 2 thumbs up. And there she saw her smiling mother and her father, camera in hand. Always had people supporting. Hannah held a breath, then ballooned her cheeks before letting it out. With a whoosh, the roaring in her ears receded. Then, as everyone seemed to disappear beyond the light shining down on her, like a moonbeam, she remembered. Gambara no Hana-chan, do your best, her grandfather had told her. Oji-chan would be cheering for her. See, she saw just him and her. Hannah swallowed her nerves like medicine and leaned toward the microphone. This is the sound of a mother crow calling her chicks, she said. She placed the violin under her chin, held her bow in position, and played 3 raw, squeaky notes. Squeak, squeak, squeak. This is the sound of my neighbor's cat at night. She dragged the bow across the strings, and the violin yowled in loud protest. Maybe something like that. Probably better. This is the sound of rain on a paper umbrella. Hannah plucked the strings for a soothing plop, 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 plop sound. As Hannah continued to play, all the special sounds she had practiced, the air around her came alive with buzzing bees, and lowing cows, and squeaking mice, and croaking frogs. Finally, as the last sound effect trailed away, Hannah tucked her bow and violin under her arm, and that, she said to the audience, is how I play the violin. Then she took a great big bow. Later, after dinner, Kenji surprised Hannah by asking for an encore. Remember, encores, they want another performance. Make that funny cow sound again, he said. Then Koji said, make that crazy cat sound too. So Hannah did. And when her mother and father and brothers all laughed, she happily played her sounds again. Very cool. Perhaps next year, Hannah would be able to perform one of Oji-chan's favorite pieces. But for now, Hannah played a little melody she had been practicing, remembered from the nights lit by dancing fireflies. She imagined that the notes would drift out through the window, past the bright rabbit moon, and beyond, and Oji-chan would hear them and smile. Very good. The end. Practicing for her grandfather who had taught her. Very cool. All right, everybody. So hopefully you enjoyed those 2 books about Japanese culture. Very important that we embrace and learn about all cultures, especially right now. a lot going on. I know you may be seeing some things on TV and people are angry and sad, but the best thing we can do is we can try to work so that everyone has rights and everyone is treated fairly, and that we protect our communities from anyone who would seek to do different. And that's part of that, is embracing our diversity, embracing who we are, knowing that we are powerful, we are strong, and we should be proud of who we are. So with that, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow at 11:30. We'll do our long list of shout outs, and I'm going to say goodbye to you, and we'll probably be back at home tomorrow, so you'll see the normal set. All right? We clap and sing goodbye. We clap and sing goodbye. Oh, with our friends at Storytime, we clap and sing goodbye. We wave and sing goodbye. We wave and sing goodbye. And with our friends at Storytime, we wave and sing goodbye. See you guys tomorrow. All right, thanks, Seamus.